Good morning. Thank you all for joining us here on short notice. Earlier this morning, the United States Department of Justice announced that it is moving to dismiss its lawsuit against Louisville Metro Government and Louisville Metro Police Department. The DOJ is moving to dismiss its case with prejudice, meaning that the case will be permanently closed. We believe the court will grant this motion. As a result of the forthcoming dismissal, the consent decree proposed in the lawsuit will not become effective. While this is not the outcome we hoped for when we stood right here in December and announced the decree, it is an outcome that we have planned for. We as a city are committed to reform. I am committed to reform and improvements. Chief Humphrey is committed to reform and improvements. To ensure that the promised progress continues throughout Louisville Metro government, we are moving forward with the community commitment, Louisville's consent decree. This is an agreement between Louisville Metro government, the Louisville Metro Police Department, and the citizens of Louisville. It includes provisions to hire an independent monitor following community input and a process for significant community input over the years to come. It incorporates all of the objectives previously included and negotiated in the consent decree and puts in place the accountability and transparency measures needed to continue building trust and improving public safety throughout all of Louisville. This community commitment will lead to the same results we were pushing for in the court-ordered consent decree. As promised, we are moving ahead rapidly to continue implementing police reform that ensures constitutional policing while providing transparency and accountability to the public. I made a promise to our community, and we are keeping that promise. An RFP will be issued once the judge enters his ruling, which will request proposals from qualified candidates interested in serving as the independent monitor. We also want to hear from residents about what qualities they would like to see in an independent monitor and what they think about the finalists. Dr. Vanessa McPhail, who is our director of the Office of Equity here at Louisville Metro Government, will be leading this community engagement process. Dr. McPhail is now going to share a little bit more about what this process will look like. Dr. McPhail?
Thanks. Good morning. I will be leading the process with the community engagement sessions to support the selection of an independent monitor. We will host 2 listening sessions. They will take place in 2 different locations. This will give the community an opportunity to meet the independent monitors, will give them an opportunity to share the qualities that they want in the independent monitors. We will also have an online survey, and the online survey will ensure that all the voices are heard. A 3rd session will take place with the 2 finalists. The 2 finalists will be at a town hall meeting, and this will give us an opportunity to introduce them and for the community to share the qualities that they would like to see in them and learn more about them. We will share the dates and times of the locations after the judge has ruled, and the dates and times can be confirmed. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. McPhail. As she mentioned, the dates, the times, and locations for these events, as well as links for the online survey, will be forthcoming following the judge's official ruling. Once an independent monitor is selected, we expect a contract will be issued that is renewable annually for up to 5 years. Our goal is to accomplish the key objectives in this community commitment in under that period of time. A shorter time frame for compliance is within reach because the chief and I and our teams have already implemented significant reforms that were called for in the original consent decree and are reflected here as well. Over the last 2 years, LMPD has revised more than 260 policies, updated its procedures, and restructured its department's organization, leadership, and personnel, including the creation of an Accountability and Improvement Bureau. Officers are now getting more training and better care when they need it through the Summit Wellness Center, which has become a national model for excellence in this area. LMPD is collecting the data they need to make good decisions and measure whether it is meeting its goals. The department also implemented a new focus on de-escalation and significantly expanded the deflection program to ensure more effective interventions for people in crises. Chief Humphreys will now talk more about these reforms, how it will be implemented, and our aggressive timeline for continuing to make progress towards all of our goals. Chief Humphrey.
Thank you, Mayor. So, in 2016, people called the Louisville Metro Police Department and asked for help. An officer showed up at their door to help them. In the process, they also worked on how they could do their job better every single day. In 2021, sitting in a staff meeting at the old headquarters with Erica Shields and the executive staff, when we got a call from the Department of Justice saying that they were announcing a pattern and practice investigation. While we were working on how we improved the department, somebody was calling 911 asking for help, and police officers were showing up at their door trying to figure out how to help them. Just this past December, we all met in this room and talked about a consent decree that we had agreed to with the Department of Justice. And while we stood in this room and talked about the words on the paper, somebody was calling 911 and asking for help. And there were police officers showing up at their door trying to help them solve their problems. And throughout all of that process, we never hesitated, we never delayed, we never took a step back in trying to learn how to do our jobs better and serve the community better. It's not about these words on this paper, it's about the work that the men and women of LMPD, the men and women of Metro government, and the community will do together in order to make us a safer, better place. It's about the work, not the words. The words are a promise from myself and the mayor that we're going to do this the right way. And we expect that you will hold us accountable to the work that we do. Right now, I think we're headed in the right direction. Crime is down. We're going in the right direction. I believe transparency and trust have increased greatly in the past few years because we're going in the right direction. We are creating a culture of improvement where everyone knows that you are expected to figure out ways how to do your job better. Changing the paradigm around the word accountability, because accountability doesn't mean discipline. It can. Accountability, when it's done right, prevents discipline. Accountability is how we show each other that we care about each other. Accountability is setting a standard and then holding ourselves to it and expecting that someone else will hold us to it. Because if you don't tell me how to get better, then you're telling me one of two things. You're telling me you don't think I'm capable of anything better than what I'm showing today. Or you're telling me you just don't care about me. We expect for our officers and everybody in Metro government to have a culture of accountability and challenge each other to be better the next day. Understanding that there is an out from this agreement. This agreement will come to an end at some point. And in this document, we will talk to you about what we do after the completion of this document. Because the job of improvement, the job of public safety, the job of community collaboration is never finished. There is no finish line. There is no moment where we will sit back, give each other a pat on the back, and say, you did it. We will always strive to be better. And we expect that the community will hold us accountable to it, and we will hold ourselves accountable to it. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. As I mentioned earlier, our progress under the independent monitoring process will be shared regularly with the public during scheduled briefings and a dedicated section on LMPD's website. In addition, LMPD and the Independent Monitor will provide regular reports to the new Community Safety Commission, which was created in my comprehensive crime reduction plan, Safe Louisville. The commission will be a forum for community input, engagement, and feedback concerning both crime prevention and police reform, embodying a holistic approach that addresses violent crime while protecting the constitutional rights of all citizens. The commission will be made up of various stakeholders working to reduce violence from around our city. Membership will include community representatives from each LMPD patrol division, representatives from the justice system, and representatives of community organizations from various sectors, such as faith leaders, crime victims, criminal justice advocates, business owners, immigrants, medical professionals, educators, and homeless service providers. This will ensure community engagement continues long into the future, as the Chief just said, as we continuously work to make Louisville safer and improve policing. More details concerning the formation and meeting schedule of the commission will also be announced soon. We're embracing this opportunity to make LMPD one of the country's most respected and transparent police departments. To all of the men and women of LMPD, thank you for your commitment to our community and the job that you do every day to keep Louisville safe. I know you are committed to doing your jobs the right way and continuing to build a department that earns trust with the people you serve. And to our entire community, thank you. Thank you for pushing us forward to implement these reforms, building community trust, and working in partnership to build an even safer, stronger, and healthier Louisville. With everyone's support and engagement, we are coming together to create the public safety system our community deserves, and to ensure Louisville is a city where justice is promised and practiced every single day. Thank you all very much, and we're happy to take any questions from members of the media. Roberto.
Why did the city decide not to oppose the DOJ's motion to dismiss?
We did not oppose DOJ's motion to dismiss today because we see the writing on the wall, and it's time to move forward. It was over 2 years ago, like the United States Attorney General stood right here and announced their findings report that led us to this day. It is time we move past all of these process things about how we get here and just solely focus on the reforms and improvements that we all agree need to be made, are being made, and should be continued to be made. So we can't afford any more delays. There's no point in delaying the inevitable. Let's focus on those reforms and improvements, and that's why we did not object.
Do you agree with the DOJ's phrasing that the consent decree was based on wrongly equating statistical disparities with intentional discrimination and heavily relied on flawed methodologies and incomplete data?
So I think it's very important to know that while we did not object to the DOJ's filing this morning, that is the DOJ's filing, and the DOJ speaks for itself. I've been very clear for over 2 years that we accept the findings of the original DOJ report and we're focused on moving forward into the future. So I'll let the DOJ speak for itself, and we accept the findings, but we're moving forward.
Do you think this is a political decision by the new administration?
The question is, do I think this is a political decision by the new administration? I will let the new administration and the DOJ speak for themselves. I can't speculate on their motives. We're dealing with the fact that they have made their decision to move to dismiss the case, and we're ready to move forward, continuing the reforms that we've agreed to for many, many months.
Mayor?
Yes.
They had also mentioned, the DOJ had mentioned that it's taking a lot of money from taxpayers, and there was money involved in it with the city taking it on as well. How much money will this save the city in the end?
The question was about the cost of the consent decree to taxpayers and how much will this cost. I have proposed $750,000 in my proposed budget, which is currently pending before Metro Council right now. That $750,000 is an estimated cost of what it would cost for an independent monitor under this community commitment, Louisville's consent decree that we are proposing here today. That is less expensive than what we thought it might cost under a federal judge-imposed consent decree So it's about half of the cost of what we originally thought. Yes? Okay.
I had a quick question about the monitoring services. So the city issued an RFP last December, closed I think in mid-June, or sorry, mid-January. Is the cost that you're considering for monitoring services, does that come from some of the experience that you have with getting this feedback from the companies who are interested or the organizations that are interested in monitoring?
The,
Think it's going to be enough?
yeah, the question is, do we think that will be enough, and what's changed since we released the RFP when we thought we were doing this under a federal oversight earlier this year? We believe $750,000 will be enough based on what we expect this role to be and based on some efficiencies that we believe will be in this process versus the previous process. Again, the goals and objectives are exactly the same. The goals for reform, the objectives for improvement are exactly the same as they were. It will just be a different process. And so we'll be releasing an RFP following the judge's ruling that will spell it all out. And as you heard from Dr. McPhail, we'll have robust community engagement during that process, and then once we select 2 finalists, for the community to meet those 2 finalists before we make a final decision. The question is, what if it takes longer than 5 years to hit all of the benchmarks? We'll keep going. We believe we can hit that. That was the target in the original consent decree, was to move faster. We have already made significant reforms that were called for in both the original consent decree and this community commitment. And once we get through this is another reason why we didn't object. We want the chief and his team at LMPD to be solely focused on reform and improvement. And all of this process continues to be a distraction. It's time to focus on reform and improvement. Yes?
Have you spoken to Breonna Taylor's family? And if you haven't, or whatever, what's your message to them with this?
The question is, have I spoken to Breonna Taylor's family? I called, Ms. Palmer was the very first call that I made after the DOJ made its filing this morning. So that was about an hour ago. I got her voicemail. I left her a message to let her know what we were going to be announcing at 11:15, and I hope to speak with her in the near future.
What would your message to her be?
My message will be to her, I'd like to keep that conversation private, but my message to her will be very similar to what my message is to the entire community. Chief Humphrey, myself, LMPD, Louisville Metro government, we are committed to reform and improvement. And there is nothing that we can do to bring Ms. Palmer's daughters back. But we can do a lot every day moving forward to continue to make improvements so that this city is a safer city, and this city is a city that has the trust of its police department, that engages in constitutional, transparent, effective policing every day to protect other people's lives.
What happens
Yes.
if you don't hit the benchmarks? Who do you hold accountable if the police department doesn't hit the reform benchmarks?
So in the community commitment, the question was, I should repeat the question. The question was, what happens if we don't hit the proposed benchmarks? There is a dispute resolution process set forth in the community commitment that explains the process that we would go through if there is a dispute between the independent monitor and LMPD. Yes, sir.
The significant role that you're envisioning for this Community Safety Commission in sort of providing that community feedback for reform, who gets to decide what individuals and organizations are going to be able to be a part of that?
So the question was about who will be on the Community Safety Commission. We expect, like we're doing with the independent monitor, we expect to get a lot of community feedback and engagement. We hope to have a nomination process where various organizations can nominate folks from their organization to serve. And then it is my intention to, just as I appoint to 70 or 80 other boards and commissions throughout the city, it's my intention to appoint those individuals and to do that by executive order as soon as possible. Yes?
It appears that the community and the public are the ones that you all need to convince that LMPD has changed. For those who were pushing for federal oversight, what do you say to those who may say, this just appears that this is LMPD or the city being in a position to again correct themselves?
Yeah. The question was, what do we say to individuals who are hoping for federal oversight? And the answer is, we were expecting that as well. I stood here last December with the chief committing to a process that would involve federal oversight, and now with a new administration, they have made the decision to go in a different direction. But we are continuing down that path. Chief Humphrey and I are committed to reform. We have made significant reform, changing over 260 policies, creating the Summit Wellness Center, restructuring LMPD's leadership, and more. That reform and improvement will continue. You are seeing public safety in our city improve already under Chief Humphrey's leadership. Shootings and homicides are down approximately 30% over last year. Our recruiting is increasing. The new recruiting class that just started training about a week or so ago is at its highest level in years. So we believe we are making improvements. We know we have more to do, and we will continue working on that every day. Anything you want to add? No, if you want to, sure.
So to address your question, this is the reality that we're in, right? So it's on us, the police department, the administration, to show you what we're doing, how we're improving. And when you ask about the accountability mechanisms, if we fail, I'll get fired. That's how this works. I'm an appointed employee, so I'll lose my job. So it's personally important to me for that reason that I don't fail. And the thing is that every officer on LMPD wants to do a really, really good job. Nobody signed up for this job or any other job, including in your profession, to do a bad job. We are all open to improvement. We are all open to recommendations. We are all open to learning how to improve every single day. So there are real consequences if we fail. We don't build community trust. We don't keep this community safer, and he'll fire me. So you have my promise personally that I'll do everything that I can to make sure that this works.
Maxwell.
As it relates to community outreach, what was the, implementation to get community input on the structure of the Louisville consent decree on top of the independent monitor?
So the question was about community engagement and input. And we have been listening. I've been listening since before I was mayor, and definitely since that day where then U.S. Attorney General Merrick Garland stood here and announced the findings reports and the plan moving forward, we have engaged in extensive community engagement across this city in lots of different formats, in different locations, at different times, with different groups of people. So we have been listening for over 2 years. We agreed on a consent decree with the previous administration last December. That is reflected in this document that we are releasing, that we have signed today, and those are the same objectives that will be moving forward. So now the community engagement shifts to hiring an independent monitor and then continuing to provide feedback throughout this process over the years to come. So we're excited about doing that. That's an important part of this process.
Is the Office of Inspector General involved in the community plan, and do you plan to rehire at Harness?
So the question was about the Office of Inspector General's role in the community commitment, and just as in the negotiated consent decree, those similar provisions regarding the Office of Inspector General are reflected in this as well. I think it's very important to note that the Officer of Inspector General has a very important role in this community. That office's role is to respond to specific civilian complaints about LMPD. And what the independent monitor under the community commitment is doing is to oversee and provide input and to account for the systemic reforms that are being made to LMPD and Louisville Metro government. These are distinct, but both very important roles.
Mayor, can you talk about how much it will cost to hire an independent monitor and if that cost has changed?
Again, the question was about the cost of the independent monitor. As I mentioned, I have proposed $750,000 in next year's budget, so that has been proposed to Metro Council. There was some money proposed in this year's budget. We expected a partial year of an independent monitor. None of that money has been spent, so that will, be a savings to the city. One or two more questions, though.
I have a question for Chief Humphrey. I just wanted to ask that, given what we've seen during the federal consent decree process, with the city arguing in federal court for implementation, the police union arguing to sort of pump the brakes here, I know it's early on, but have you gotten any reaction from rank and file, or if not, what do you expect to hear from rank and
Well, as far as what I expect to hear from rank and file is that they want to go do their job, plain and simple. They want clear direction from their leadership on what their expectations are, and they will go do their job. They will follow our policies as they're written, and they will follow their leadership as they're directed. You know, we have one of these jobs where when people trust leadership, they will go through a brick wall for leadership that they trust. And that is the type of department that we're trying to build, is that they have leadership that they can trust and that they believe in and knows that has their best interest in mind and has the best interest of the community in mind. I want the community and the officers to feel like this command staff is going to do everything we can to keep both of them safe and lead them in the right direction.
Is there anyone who's not yet asked a question that has a question? From members of the media here, and then we'll.
To follow up on the chief, how do you differentiate between best interest of the officers and best interest of the community?
So the question was, how do we differentiate between best interests of the officers and best interests of the community? There's not a difference. Officers are part of this community as well. Keeping both of them safe is my primary role, is to make sure that officers are safe in protecting the public. There is no difference in prioritization. My role is to take care of the people who take care of people, right? I'm not going to go out and make runs. I'm not going to go out and take reports. That is not my job. That is the job of those officers out there. My job is to make sure that they're really good at doing that, and that's what we're going to do.
Thank you all very much for joining. We hope to work together with the entire community to continue to come together, to continue to improve policing in our community, to continue to improve public safety throughout all of Louisville. We are well on our way, and with this community commitment, Louisville's consent decree, we will make even more steps forward on a rapid basis. Thank you all very much.